皆さん、また来てくださってありがとうございます。こちらはマンハッタン、ニューヨーク、12月1日金曜日の午後です。ということでね、今日のね、動画はね、昨日もの木曜日ね、いろんなことがあったんですよ。でね、まずね、キッシンジャー、元国務長官のキッシンジャーさんが亡くなられたっていうことと、亡くなられたって言ってもね、100歳ですからね、人生を全うされたということで、お悔やみ申し上げます。あとね、ニューヨークタイムズのサミットで、イーロン様がね、バサッとね、ディズニーの CEO アンポンタン野郎をバサッと切ったんですよ。それがねすごい話題になって、いろんなところでやった気持ちよかった、俺たちの代弁してくれたみたいな感じで、世界中でいろんな人がこれに関してコメントしていました。そして木曜日の夜、昨日の夜ですね、サントスさんとギャビン・ニューサムっていうフロリダの知事、今第2位につけている、トランプさんの次につけているロン・デサントスさんとギャビン・ニューサムさん、この人っていうのはバイデンがもうこけてダメですから、もう次に民主党が押し上げようとしてる影の第一候補ってされてる人なんですね。バイデン・トランプが亡くなった時の大統領ディベート予備討論会みたいな、少しそういう意味合いがあるんですね。ということでね、これがね、いかにもね、詭弁で押し通せっていう民主党がもうありありと分かるディベートだったので、ぜひこれ見てほしいと思います。あとはね、トランプさんが以前最高裁に民主党の企みで訴えられて、来年の大統領選に出る資格がない投票用紙から消せっていうことで最高裁に訴えられていて、最初にワシントンかなでそれ棄却されたんですよね。ところがね、民主党っていうのはね、諦めませんから、とにかくコロラドでもミシガンでもロングアイランド、あらゆるいろんな州で最高裁に訴えてたんですね。なんとかトランプさんを出させないようにしようとして。ところがね、この判事全員がコロラド、ミシガン、ロードアイランド、ミネソタ全員が棄却して投票用紙に載る資格がありますっていうことで、トランプさんが勝利いたしましたということで、これも口頭でお伝えしますね。嬉しいニュースとして。ということでね、今日はね、あとね、もう実様がね、もうね、本当にダメなんですよ、ぐさぐさで。で、本当にもうガビン・ニューサムさんが上がってきてるっていうのは、もう民主党ももうダメだっていうのは分かってるんですね。その姿を皆様にまたお見せいたしたいと思います。で、このギャビン・ニューサムさんっていう今回ディベートした人は、こっそり民主党がこの人を次にしようっていうことで、だから個人的に中国の習近平を訪問したり、習近平と会ってるんですよ。このただの知事が習近平と。これ普通じゃないですよね。しかも習近平をアメリカに招いた時に、サンフランシスコ、カリフォルニアのサンフランシスコ、自分の州なんですよね、招いたところは。ということでね、これね、バイデンがもうダメですから、青写真的にこの人が次の大統領を、民主党の大統領を受け継いで、今個人的に中国訪問して会ったり、カリフォルニア呼んだりって、これって青写真じゃないのっていう感じが私はしています。ということで、それを踏まえてまた見てください。ということで、どうぞ。
Biden doesn't know what it is either. So he tells this guy that his Marine has the codes that can blow up the world. Oh my God. This actually happened. Watch. I'm not making it up.
It's Nick. Hey, Nick. This is Nick Williams. Now look, my Marine carries that. It has a code to blow up the world.
Oh my God.
That doesn't. This is not nuclear weapons, is it? All right, okay.
Somebody put Grandpa back in the home. Just put him right back in the home and give him his meds and help him go back to sleep. You guys.
Why would he say that?
Because he doesn't know. I don't think at this point he doesn't know what he's saying. No clue. He reads from cue cards and teleprompters, and then when he's away from cue cards and teleprompters, he has no clue what he's saying. There's no way this guy could do another 4 years.
No way. No way.
So anyway, please get rid of Joe Biden and bring back the real president, Donald J. Trump. Amen.
Bro, is this real? That's hilarious. That is savage. But
A whole
people are moving out of California and headed straight over to Florida. What say you both about that?
How do you explain this phenomenon? Governor, what's going on?
When I was in the Navy, I got orders to go to Naval Amphibious Base Coronado in Southern California. And I was a lifelong Floridian, but I went there and I was like, man, this is one of the most beautiful places on earth. And I think California has more natural advantages than any state in the country. You almost have to try to mess California up. And yeah, that's what Gavin Newsom has done since he's been governor. He's the first governor to ever lose population. They actually at one point ran out of U-Hauls in the state of California because so many people were leaving. Of course, he's imposed restrictions on his own people while exempting himself from those restrictions and going to the French Laundry while his people were suffering. He led the country in school closures, locking kids out of school while he had his own kids in private school in person. Now, he's very good at spinning these tales. He's good at being slick and slippery. He'll tell a blizzard of lies to be able to try to mask the failures. But the reality is they have failed because of his leftist ideology. And the choice for America is this. What Biden and Harris and Newsom want to do is take the California model and do that nationally. In Florida, we showed that conservative principles work. This country must choose freedom over failure.
Governor Newsom, your reaction?
Well, it's good to be with you, Sean. It's nice also to see you in a tie as well tonight. Good to be with you, Ron and I.
Never answered that question, ever.
No,
ever,
yeah,
ever. On with that, they also talked about immigration, and we all knew that Gavin Newsom was going to lie and that he was going to do the spinning and the slickeriness, just like DeSantis described. We all knew he was going to do it. We've been talking about it for weeks.
He lacks any credibility on the issue of immigration. When he was in Congress, he supported amnesty. When he's in Congress, you supported John Boehner's bill. It's a fact. When you were in Congress, you supported Obama's. You supported Obama's efforts to advance comprehensive reform. A guy who stands here who's been out on the Republican debate stage saying, well, he's going to be tough. He's going to shoot people with backpacks, of supporting amnesty and supporting reforms under the Obama administration is the last guy to be standing on stage talking about the issue of immigration reform tonight.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's deja vu all over again with that flurry of lies. This is a guy that says the Biden administration is not lying to the public about the border. They go to the White House briefing room every day. They say the border's secure. They are lying to you. We know that that's not true. Gavin Newsom is lying to you when he says somehow I supported these things, which I didn't do. He's also lying to you about what it's going to take to solve this problem. California is a sanctuary state. They thumb their nose at federal immigration law. ICE wanted to take him into custody because then they would be able to deport him. LA refuses to work with ICE, and so they wouldn't turn him over. They end up releasing him on the street. He ends up murdering the mother of a 3-year-old little girl. Those policies are deadly. They do not work. And I would tell you this, the Martha's Vineyard transport, Martha's Vineyard said it was a sanctuary jurisdiction. Kind of reminds me about Gavin Newsom when he restricted Californians, then he went to the French Laundry. These liberal elites, they like to impose burdens on you. They don't want to have to face the consequences of their actions. So we've got a lot of elites who want open borders, who lecture everybody else about it. Then the minute they have to deal with any of the consequences, oh man, all hell breaks loose.
How about the consequences?
Hold on.
He's just such a jerk. I mean,
no.
In this country, they shouldn't be able to buy farmland anywhere. I can tell you this, I would not go to China and grovel in front of Xi like Gavin Newsom did. He says China's a partner on climate change. China's adding 2 new coal plants every year. China's laughing at us with what they're doing. So yes, they're the #1 threat we face, and we need to take it seriously, and Joe Biden is not doing that.
That advantage billionaires and millionaires over working families and the working poor. People in his state pay more taxes on the low end than we tax people on the high end.
How does
That's
paying
a fact.
$7 a gallon gas help working people? That doesn't help working people at all. How does paying an 8% sales tax help working people? That doesn't help working people at all. They have the highest taxes in the nation. People flee to be able to save money to get out of California. And you have working class people that move to these other states. Their dollars go much further. But here's the thing. They want to take this Bidenomics and they want to double down on this for the next 4 years. How many people are able to afford groceries now compared to what you were doing 3 or 4 years ago? I talked to people, I talked to a woman who had a cart full of groceries going in, and they're ringing it up. And it got to be so expensive, she has to take a lot of the stuff out. That didn't used to be the case. People used to be able to work hard and get ahead. That is not true under Joe Biden. And you know what, Sean, one more final thing. California's unemployment rate is 60% higher than Florida's unemployment rate. Our unemployment rate is 2.8%. Theirs is 4.8%. Why?
Governor.
Because it's a command and control economy. They have a political agenda that they're pursuing.
Let me ask that question.
People.
Yeah, my kid lives in California. Our boy, he's about ready to move here again because he's there. They can't live in California anymore because it's a complete disaster there. He's paying like $7 a gallon for gas. You can't tell me that it doesn't suck there.
But let me just say something about parents' rights, because he says California respects parents' rights. This is rich. He's been telling a lot of whoppers tonight. This may be the biggest. In California, if you're a parent in Iowa or New Hampshire or South Carolina, your minor child can go to California without your knowledge or without your consent and get hormone therapy, puberty blockers, and a sex change operation, all without you knowing or consenting. How in the heck is that honoring parents' rights when you're bringing people from out of state to go around their parents' backs and getting life-altering surgeries? That is radical. That is
Ron,
extreme.
these kids
That is an assault on parents' rights.
You know what, Ron?
It's not for you to decide. It's for the parents to decide. And the parents do not want their kids going to...
These kids just want to live? That's what he said.
That was his answer.
These kids just want to... What a piece of crap this guy is.
I was talking to a fella who had made the move from California to Florida, and he was telling me that Florida is much better governed, safer, better budget, lower taxes, all this stuff. And he was really happy with the quality of life. And then he paused and he said, by the way, I'm Gavin Newsom's father-in-law. So we do count Gavin's in-laws as some of the people that have fled California and come to the state of Florida. And why are we getting people to come? We have a 50-year low in the crime rate. You don't see in the last 10 years, we've had a 45% decline in homelessness. California's had a 45% increase in homelessness. We back the blue. I was walking the streets of San Francisco a couple months ago, and I had some of the cops in San Francisco do a beeline to come over to me, and I didn't know what they were going to say. And they're like, we want to thank you for standing for law enforcement because we don't get that support in the state of California. So people understand quality of life matters. They understand that Florida's doing it right.
Or is it the role of the school? What is the role?
The role of the school is to educate kids, not indoctrinate kids. It's not to impose an agenda. It's to do the basics. And what we've said in Florida is it's inappropriate to tell a kindergartner that their gender is a choice. It's inappropriate to tell a second grader that they may have been born in the wrong body. Now, California has that. They want to have that injected into the elementary school. My wife and I have a 7-5 and a 3-year-old. We don't think that that's appropriate. And I know most parents do not think it's appropriate. It's also important to respect parental rights to know what curriculum is being used in the classroom, and everything should be age appropriate. I actually have something that I brought that some parents have objected to. So this is a book that's in some of the schools in California. Florida, this is not consistent with our standards, called Gender Queer. Some of it's blacked out. You would not probably be able to put this on air. This is pornography. It's cartoons. It's aimed at children, and it's wrong. So this should not be in schools. When people like on the left say that somehow you're banning books by removing this from a young kid's classroom, no, this is not age appropriate. And so we're going to stand for the rights of parents. I think we need to do that nationwide. I don't think you can have a situation where some states just trample on the rights of parents. Parents have a fundamental right to direct the education and upbringing of their kids.
I have to tell you, I think watch this.
This is a map of San Francisco. There's a lot of plots on that. You may be asking, what is that plotting? Well, this is an app where they plot the human feces that are found on the streets of San Francisco. And you see how almost the whole thing is covered. Because that is what has happened in one of the previous greatest cities this country's ever had. Human feces is now a fact of life, except when a communist dictator comes to town. Then they cleaned up the streets. They lined the streets with Chinese flags. They didn't put American flags there. They cleaned everything up. So they're willing to do it for a communist dictator, but they're not willing to do it for their own people.
Incredible.
The stats are very clear.
One at a time.
On a per capita age-adjusted basis, California and Florida, basically the same. Now, why is that important? because Gavin Newsom did huge damage to people in California. He ruined livelihoods. We reopened the state very quickly. We saved thousands of jobs. We saved hundreds of thousands of jobs, thousands of businesses. We had our kids in school. He had the kids locked out of school because of the teachers union. That is having a generational impact. California has one of the lowest literacy rates in the country. In the most recent NAEP exam, Florida came in number 3 for 4th grade reading. California was far, far behind. So you should apologize for not getting your kids in school. Why didn't you get the kids in school in the summer of 2020 like we did?
The only
you bowed
person,
to the teachers
the only
union.
person,
You didn't do the job you should have done.
All right, let's kick it off with Elon because that's also amazing and a super fun moment. So he's sitting there with Aaron Ross Sorkin, a CNBC anchor, who is a competent, good questioner. He's asking Elon questions about this Twitter boycott by these advertisers like Disney, who submitted to pressure from Media Matters, this complete joke of an organization that exists only to ruin conservatives or people who are right of center. And watch what happens. Kind of a long clip, but it's worth it. Watch.
And you're clarifying this now. But there's a public perception that that was part of a apology tour, if you will. That this had been said online. There was all of the criticism. There was advertisers leaving. We talked to Bob Iger today.
I hope they stop.
You hope?
Don't advertise.
You don't want them to advertise?
No.
What do you mean?
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go fuck yourself.
But
go fuck yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob, if you're in the audience, this advertising boycott is going to do it. It's going to kill the company.
And do you think that the
and the whole world will know that those advertisers killed the company, and we will document it in great detail.
But those advertisers, I imagine, are going to say we didn't kill the company.
Oh yeah.
They're going to say
tell it to Earth.
Right.
And we'll see what the outcome is.
What are the economics of that for you? I mean, you have enormous resources, so you can actually keep this company going for a very long time. Would you keep it going for a long time if there was no advertising?
I mean, if the company fails because of an advertiser boycott, it will fail because of an advertiser boycott. And that will be what bankrupted the company, and that's what everybody on Earth will know.
What do you think then of the... this goes back to the idea of trust, though.
Then it'll be gone. And it'll be gone because of an advertiser boycott.
But you recognize that some of those people are going to say that they didn't feel comfortable on the platform. And I just wonder and ask you and think about that for a second.
Tell it to the judge.
But the judge is going to be...
the judge is the public.
And you think that the public is going to say that Disney is making a mistake?
Yes.
And they're going to boycott Disney?
They already are. I'm saying what I care about is the reality of goodness, not the perception of it. And what I see all over the place is people who care about looking good while doing evil. Fuck them. Okay?
So good, Jeremy. So good, right?
Epic. Truly epic. I mean, you're dealing with a guy, it's easy to say, Elon Musk, he's worth $200 billion or whatever, and he can afford to do this. It won't hurt him. No one can afford to just lose $40 billion and have that be meaningless to them. It's not that it's meaningless to him. It's that it is of less meaning to him than the thing that caused him to buy X in the first place, which is a commitment to open discourse. So I think he's an actual hero. He's one of the great men of our time. I think that he is the greatest living American, as I've said many times.